PHS started about 20 years ago. 20 years ago, actually this year was my personal 20th anniversary on May 8th, and on May 12th we went to the Supreme Court and fought for the injection site. So that was a great way for me to celebrate my 20th anniversary for the organization, and I thought it was also kind of a fitting and emblematic icon of my 20 years, because really that's how long it takes to get anything done. I think I have a sort of a general view that everything takes about 10 years. Any project we've done, any initiative that's actually been successful has taken about a decade. So it's not a sprint run, it really is a marathon. And the fact that we're starting training around community engagement strategies for folks from the communities that are involved, I think it's incredibly important for you guys not to come into this work with this view that you're going to be able to move mountains right away. So I think that having the sense of how long things take to change is really, really important, but at the same time know that things do change, and every piece of the work that you're doing makes a difference. So 20 years ago, for instance, when we started working in the old Portland Hotel, which is now called the Pennsylvania, it was the first SRO hotel in Vancouver to be operated by a nonprofit organization, and at that time there were 11,000 SRO hotel rooms available for people living in welfare. Now there's something like 4,500. So that just shows you how times have changed. A lot of hotel units that people relied on for housing have been lost to conversions, hotels being converted to backpackers, shelter, tourist hotels. And when we started, I mean, my background's nursing, I was hired to what was meant to be operate 10 individuals out of 70 in a nonprofit hotel who maybe have complex health needs and support needs, including mental health needs. And you know, I was 25 and very naive and just moved anybody and everybody into the building that said they needed housing, and then realized fairly quickly that there's a giant gap in supports and giant gap in healthcare, access to addiction supports and services for folks that couldn't even find a stable address. And then I guess the big elephant in the room in the early 90s was addiction. And for us, it was nobody, and it continues, I think, in some degree to be this thing that everybody doesn't want to really address as a complex issue. So everybody knows that it would be better for all of us if we could help people who are addicted and their lives of addiction. That's a no-brainer. But there's also this reality that that's a very difficult thing to do for folks. Just like for me, I still smoke. 20 years I've been trying to quit, I still smoke. So, you know, I bite my nails, but then that's fine. You know, we're just complex beings, human beings. And so coming up with simplistic paradigms around what to do about things is one thing, but then actually trying to concretize stuff that benefits people's lives is a different thing. So I guess for us, we took a fairly pragmatic view of the world and decided that we would turn our energy as an organization into just trying to do practical things that we could do. Knowing that the building blocks of a better life for people, things like stable housing, food, opportunities to find meaningful engagement, whether it's through art or through getting your teeth fixed at the dentist or getting a bank account, icons of some social membership, peer programs such as learning about social justice, learning about media, learning about how to publish magazines, just some really practical things, how to work in a thrift shop, how to learn how to do pest control, how to learn how to do security. These are all things that we've tried to, I guess, fill gaps in the neighborhood with the intent to bring dignity and respect to people's lives that would have been traditionally unwelcome in more mainstream services and supports. Of course, we don't do enough. There's always much more that needs to be done. And along the way have many times, even though we are a government-funded agency who are meant to be delivering services, taken an advocacy role and done quite a lot of community engagement work. And at times tried really hard to keep that under the radar, because it can, obviously, when you are operating a government program funded by government to deliver programs, and then on the other hand, you're shouting at government about what they're doing. It is a delicate dance about how do you do advocacy, how do you do community engagement work, and at the same time operate programs. But with our struggle for the injection site, it was sort of the mass outing of the PHS in the sense that we had to actually, we filed a court action against the federal government of Canada, which we're still fighting in the Supreme Court of Canada. So that was a giant sort of public statement, I guess, about what we've been doing, and has had repercussions for us as an organization, some good, some bad. But through that work, and prior to the court action, community engagement was really a gigantic piece of pushing the agenda forward for the injection drug users in Vancouver to be given the right to live their lives while still actively injecting drugs with some respect. So I see the issue of HIV among injection drug users in our lifetime sort of equal to the slave trade, or almost to the Holocaust. We have decided that there are people in our society, because of an addiction, that don't deserve to have a certain quality of life, that don't deserve to have adequate housing, that don't deserve to have access to health care, that don't deserve to be alive, that don't deserve to have social inclusion. And that's because somewhere along the line, we decided arbitrarily which drugs are a crime to use and which ones aren't. And while that reality persists in our community, people are dying and their lives are suffering. And I think everything we're trying to do in the face of a giant, monstrous set of laws and policies that are very, very difficult to try and counter, because they're all common sense and everyone knows being a drug addict is bad, and all you really need to do is say no and let go. The reality is, people's lives do matter, and a byproduct of really ill-fated policies has been HIV. And in the 1997, I was around, but 1997, we had, I think, 1 in 4 injection drugs in the downtown side be HIV positive. We had the same rate of conversion as Botswana. Not every. So we've suffered, we're still suffering. So for me, what community engagement has been about is trying to mobilize really practical things, like shopping. Whatever it is that you need, you should be able to get, just like anybody else. And for me, and for our organization, that has been about trying to reduce stigma. So similar to putting a picture of men kissing on a poster, just like having an injection drug user walk into a bank, that's making a statement. That's saying I have the right to exist, my life matters. I should have the basics. So for us, community engagement is about mobilizing resources, about getting shit done, about involving real people, about getting their stories told. And that's, in short form, what we try to do. Of course, we fail at it many times, but we're limited in what we've got to work with. So again, I welcome anybody's questions about what it is we're attempting to do. And thank you all so much for what you're going to do and through this course about getting involved, and I'm excited about it. Thanks.